There's a moment you can't quite explain. It doesn't come with warning signs. There's no explosion, no obvious turning point, just a quiet sense that something in your life no longer fits. You look around, same job, same room, same people, but it all feels distant, muted, like you're living behind glass, present but unreachable, functioning but detached. You're not sad, you're not broken, you're just gone. And maybe you've tried to name it: burnout, fatigue, confusion. But none of those words feel right. Because deep down, you know, this isn't about what's happening around you. It's about what's dissolving inside you. The part of you that used to push forward, that used to perform, that used to attach meaning to everything, has gone silent. And it's not because you've lost yourself. It's because the self you used to be is no longer compatible with the frequency you're moving into. You don't need to panic. You don't need to fix the stillness. You're not failing. You're transitioning. You've outgrown the version of you who knew how to survive the old world. And what you're feeling now is the space between who you've been and who you're finally ready to become. Let this video hold that space with you. You don't need direction yet. You just need permission to stop pretending that anything about your normal still feels true. Most people won't see it. They'll keep running, keep producing, keep performing. Because they haven't noticed yet, the frequency that held their world together is no longer intact. But you feel it. Not with logic, with your nervous system, with the way your body resists doing what used to feel effortless, with the way your thoughts no longer obey the rhythms they once did. Because something broke in the background, quietly but permanently. The old reality field, the one built on urgency, repetition, and performance, is dissolving. And your body knows it. Which is why you can't tolerate surface-level conversation. Your goals feel like someone else's dream. You feel the need to disappear from spaces you once belonged to. You're tired, not from action, but from maintaining the illusion. You're not shutting down. You're disconnecting from distortion. What you're feeling isn't dysfunction. It's departure. The version of you that knew how to navigate the old field is no longer compatible with the signal you're beginning to tune into now. And that tuning process, it feels like floating, like silence, like a soft sense of not belonging anywhere yet. That's because you've slipped between frequencies. You haven't lost your life. You've simply exited the version of it that was never built on truth. Now you're in the pause, the stillness between timelines, the gap between roles. And it's not because you did something wrong. It's because you're one step ahead of collapse. Most people wait until the structure falls apart. You felt the frequency crack before it made a sound. And now, the only thing you're being asked to do is stop trying to rebuild what your soul has already left behind. Because what comes next won't be powered by effort. It will be powered by alignment. Here's the truth. You didn't lose your drive. You stopped performing a version of yourself that was fueled by distortion. That version of you knew how to move fast, how to fix, solve, explain, how to play a role that kept you safe, accepted, relevant. But now, you wake up and can't find the rhythm. You try to care, but your energy doesn't respond. You speak, but your voice sounds like an echo. You move, but everything feels suspended. This is not failure. This is the body refusing to run on outdated software. Because your identity wasn't just a story. It was a frequency loop, a looping of thought, behavior, and sensation that kept you locked into a version of life that no longer matches your resonance. And right now, that loop is breaking. Your nervous system is unplugging from the old survival protocol, the one that told you to keep going, keep producing, keep performing clarity even when you were falling apart inside. And now, all of that effort? It's collapsed. What you're feeling is the stillness after the storm you never admitted you were in. And that stillness can feel terrifying because it doesn't come with direction. It comes with silence. And silence feels like failure until you realize it's freedom. You're no longer sustaining the self that was never allowed to rest. So what shows up instead? A need to be alone, a discomfort with doing anything out of obligation, a strange detachment from goals you once obsessed over, a craving for simplicity so strong it feels like grief. You're not behind. You're clearing interference. You're no longer pretending the past version of you was sustainable. And as that false frequency drops, what rises might feel unfamiliar, but it's yours. And here's the most important part. Nothing has gone wrong. Your system isn't failing. It's simply refusing to keep proving a self that no longer aligns with your soul. So breathe. Stop trying to rebuild momentum. There's nothing to go back to. Only a new rhythm forming, one quiet enough that you'll only hear it once you stop shouting over your own exhaustion. You didn't plan for this, you didn't ask for it, but here you are, suspended between timelines, unable to go back, uncertain how to move forward. And while it feels like life has paused, what's really happening is a dismantling of the identity you were never meant to keep. Here's how that unraveling unfolds. Not in logic, in energy. These are the 5 phases of the frequency collapse. 1. The subtle disruption. It starts quietly. Nothing breaks, but something shifts. What once felt normal now feels artificial. The schedule you built? Heavy. The relationships you maintained? Thin. The roles you played? Unbearable. This isn't confusion. It's the beginning of your field rejecting what no longer matches your truth. 2. The withdrawal. You begin to disappear from conversations, from commitments, from dynamics that once defined you. You cancel without guilt. You crave silence. You stop responding, not from malice, but from nervous system exhaustion. Your body knows this version of life can't come with you. And so, you pause, you pull back, you begin to unplug. 3. The emergence of emotional residue. Now that there's space, what's been suppressed begins to rise. Old sadness, unseen rage, forgotten dreams, grief that never had language. You may not even know what you're crying about, but your soul does. This isn't regression, it's detox. You're not falling apart, you're emptying out the weight you mistook for personality. 4. The void then, nothing. You're not sad, you're not excited, you're not motivated, you're just blank. This is the most misunderstood phase because it doesn't look like transformation, it looks like stillness. But in reality, your field is restructuring. The part of you that always filled space is finally being asked to trust the silence. Stay here. This is the rebirth, without the fireworks. The 5. The quiet return. It won't feel like a breakthrough. It won't feel like a win. It will feel like saying no without justifying it, breathing deeper than usual, being okay with not knowing what comes next, feeling peace in spaces that used to trigger you. You'll move differently, speak differently, want differently. Not because you changed, but because you stopped pretending. This is not a new identity. This is what was underneath the noise all along. You may loop through these phases again. That's okay, because every time you do, another fragment of the false self dissolves. And what's left? Stillness, stability, self. Not the idea of you, but the actual you. And once you taste that level of resonance, you can't go back, because you've seen it now. The life you thought was yours was just a frequency your system was trained to hold. And now that the training has expired, the truth is finally landing. You don't need to go back, and you can't skip ahead. What you need now is something to hold on to while the old world dissolves and the new one doesn't speak yet. Not answers, not strategies, just honest, grounded practices that say, yes, I can feel what's ending, and I choose to stay awake inside it. Here are 7 of them. 1. Reclaim your frequency before the world grabs it. Within 5 minutes of waking, sit up. Don't scroll. Don't remember your name. Just breathe. Place your hands on your body and whisper, I return to what's true. I no longer perform. I move only in resonance today. This tells your field, we're not repeating a role, we're remembering a rhythm. 2. Let your pace be your prayer. You don't need to move fast to be worthy. You don't need to rush clarity to feel safe. Slow down, walk slower, chew slower, respond slower. Let stillness become your default, not because you're lost, but because you're finally listening. 3. 1 real act per day, ask, what am I doing that contradicts who I'm becoming? And shift just one thing. Cancel it, speak it, leave it. Choose rest instead. You don't need to change your whole life. You just need to stop rehearsing the version you've already left behind. 4. Clear what carries the old signature, look around. There's something you've been holding that belongs to a version of you who no longer exists. A journal, a shirt, a playlist, a habit, a subscription, a saved message. Let one of them go, not to tidy your life, to untangle your field. 5. Protect at least one pocket of silence. Create a zone where nothing asks for your attention. No music, no stimulation, no performance. Just you, your body, and what rises. You're not trying to be mindful. You're letting the noise dissolve so something older can speak. 6. Close the loop before you sleep. Don't take distortion to bed. Don't carry unspoken emotions into your dreams. Before sleep, sit. Place your hands on your lap. Say, I release what isn't mine. I dissolve what no longer serves. I clear space for rest and repair. Then let the night hold you like a womb, not a wall. 7. Speak from the self that's emerging. Your words write your field. So stop narrating from the collapse. Don't say, I'm broken, I'm stuck, I've lost myself. Say instead, I'm remembering. I'm between versions. I'm clearing space for what's next. You're not lying. You're building resonance through language. You don't need to rebuild anything. You're not meant to. You're meant to anchor, not in what you understand, but in what you're learning to finally feel without numbing it. The shift isn't asking for action. It's asking for agreement. And every one of these practices is your quiet way of saying, I'm still here. I trust what's coming, even if I can't name it yet. If you're still here, you already know the truth. You didn't break. You refused to keep holding together something that never honored your soul. That's not weakness. That's integrity. You stopped pretending, stopped performing, stopped aligning your nervous system to a frequency that was never yours to begin with. And in the stillness that followed, you stayed. You listened. You let it echo. Most people will rush to rebuild, to fill the gap, to fix the quiet. But you chose resonance over recognition. You chose presence over productivity. You chose to meet the version of you who doesn't need noise to feel real. And now, you're not on the edge of transformation. You are the transformation. Because what's falling away was never your foundation. It was your filter. And now that it's gone, you finally see clearly. Not the world. Yourself. And here's what matters most now. Don't rush to name it. Don't rebrand the clarity. Don't turn the stillness into another performance. Let it land. Let the new self root into your cells. Let the truth settle into your breath. Let what's real become ordinary again, not as a goal, but as your ground. If this message held you, if it mirrored something you couldn't explain until now, anchor it. Drop a single line below. What part of you are you finally releasing? What space are you choosing to no longer fill with performance? What does your body know that your mind is only beginning to understand? Your words stabilize the grid. They help someone else feel safe in their own unraveling. And if this message found you, you weren't ready. You were already in it. This isn't just content. It's a frequency. And every time you come back here, you come back to a more honest version of yourself. So pause. Let the false fall. And when you're ready, don't rise for the world. Rise for the self that never needed to fall to be seen.